Bob, I'm thinking about what does a project manager have to be good at?
Hmm.
Clearly, they have to be really comfortable with delegating, because if they don't delegate and they do everything themselves.
Only run little projects.
Only little projects. So that's not an option.
Mm-hmm.
But what's the best style for a project manager?
Well, certainly a project manager has to communicate a bit. So there's a bit of extroversion that needs to be part of the equation, I think.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, being extroverted, you think of people, they communicate with people, they're working with people closely, they have to build relationships. There's a lot going on. And I know a lot of people who are introverts who are still great project managers. I mean, when you think about it, you don't have to be an extrovert to be a project manager. You can be either one, extrovert or introvert. You just might use different methods of communicating. The introvert is going to tend toward, writing things and communicating that way, whereas an extrovert is going to want those face-to-face meetings and.
Yeah, and I said a bit of extroversion versus being extrovert, because I think you're spot on. There are some very extroverted people that I know that just make noise and don't communicate, and some very introverted people that don't share, right? So I think it's the means to be able to communicate. I think the other thing that's popping to my mind right now is, what's the style of the sponsor?
Yeah, absolutely. Because when you think about it, the project manager and the sponsor work really closely together throughout the project. So if the sponsor is detail oriented and they want detail about the project, as the project manager, you have to give them detail. They're not going to be happy if all you give them is the 50,000 foot view. On the other hand, if the sponsor really wants the big picture and not the detail, and you start telling them, and I used to do this all the time, give them the minute information, that their eyes glaze over, and it's the blah, 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 Bob.
Absolutely. I think what we're talking about here is you need to be a good leader. You need to understand the needs of your sponsor and the needs of your team, and pull people together, bring them to the party for those things that maybe you're not so comfortable doing, just to make sure you're delivering the right outcome.
Yeah. So the bottom line is, your style is to be a good leader.